This is episode 535, and today we're going to be talking about overcoming burnout and ignite your life. Now, this is probably the center focus of attention on my new men's group that I'm forming. Although this podcast is applicable to both genders, burnout can have some significant problems in our career and in our personal life. And we've all been there. Things are tough at work and they're not going much better at home, and especially in this day and age when we have been isolated and things are happening to us. You're stressed, you can't sleep, your dog ran away from home, and sometimes it seems like there aren't enough hours in the day to get stuff done. Have you ever felt that? It can be hard to stop the negative thought patterns that only serve to make you feel worse. We get caught up in this hamster wheel of thoughts of what's going wrong, why can't it go right? And we keep going back and forth with it. And stress is part of life. It really is. We have stress because all stress is internal based on what we say the meaning of the event is. But there are times it can get completely out of hand. And I've experienced it, thank goodness, not as often as I was when I was in corporate. And my clients come to me and they're really stressed, and a lot of it is just out of control and they don't know how to stop it. And when life seems too hard to handle, it's time to take back control, right? It's like, and this is what coaching is so powerful for. If you're at that point where you don't know what to do, that's why hiring me or somebody else, another coach, can help you. We can step back. We're not involved emotionally in your situation, so we can ask the questions. We can see things a little differently and help you reduce that stress. But luckily, there are many ways to take back control of your life. And some of the ideas that I'm going to go through in this podcast can put mental and physical burnout behind you. So, number one, this may sound typical for a person involved in fitness, but clean up your diet. Really, when you're feeling burned out, it can help to eat healthier diet. Yes, junk food creates more stress and load for your body to deal with. But here's the thing is when we're stressed, we normally go for something to give us an instant rush. And that's usually because we haven't been eating consistently through the day. So if we go for a candy bar, if we go for chips, if we go for something, guaranteed that you probably haven't had something to eat for 3, 4, 5 hours, and we want to get that quick sugar rush, and we want to get that feeling. There's been, for junk food and fast food, there's this combination that scientists have used with each of the food industry to know how much fat, how much salt, how much sugar to add to food to make them addictive. So when we're stressed, we want that calming feeling, so we'll go for junk food. But we need to do the opposite. We have to start eating healthier. And although we're not going to go through it right now, but you kind of know what healthier is, right? Your greens, your vegetables, your fruits, lean protein. If you're really stressed out and at work, take a Sunday. Take a few hours on a Sunday and do some meal prep, at least for 3 of your meals during the week. Now, here's the thing. When we talk about clean up your diet, it doesn't have to be every single meal at once. I recommend we have to start off small and we have to start off with successes. So I would say start with breakfast. Just clean up breakfast. If you don't have it, unless you're on intermittent fasting, which is another story. But generally speaking, if you're not having breakfast, have it healthy, right? What does that mean by healthy? Well, eggs are great. Egg whites, egg white omelet with perhaps some whole grain toast or some avocados with it. Something like that would be great, but just start with breakfast. Eat crap for the rest of the day, but then the next week you switch over to lunch, and then the third week your dinner. So after 3 weeks, you would have cleaned up your major meals, your breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So this will help. This will give your body the nutrients it needs to handle the stress, and it will give you the nutrients in your brain to think clearly. So cleaning up your diet is absolutely essential. Get more sleep. Yes, this might be a challenge because, when working harder or longer isn't a solution for burnout, it actually adds to it. And when you're burned out and you're at the office for longer hours, you may not be working, you may be daydreaming about the stress, so you're actually less productive. And sometimes the best option is to call it a night a couple of hours earlier and then get some extra rest. So with sleep, many folks who are under stress are sitting, they're watching TV, and they're actually not watching. They're thinking about what they have to do the day before. They go lay down in bed, they check their phones, they check their laptop, and they're in bed, and this creates a condition and response that when they go to bed, they don't sleep. So to get more sleep, you absolutely have to shut off your phone, put it out in the kitchen. Don't bring your laptop. All that blue light keeps you awake. I would recommend that you get there's light bulbs that simulate dusk. So when the sun sets, it releases melatonin in us. You can put those light bulbs in your bedroom, so when you go in there, your eyes will see that. Your brain will go, okay, it's time to sleep. And the bed is for two things only, and they both begin with S. One of them is sleep. So if you have a TV in your bedroom, you turn it off or take it out. You do not bring your phone with you. If you have a LED clock, turn it upside down. You want the room as dark as possible. Make it cold. If it's in the winter time, open up the window, bring some fresh air in there, bring some cold air in there. Because it's been proven that when it's cold, you sleep better. And if you're really exhausted, then if you have to do anything with your phone, there are some great sleep meditations on YouTube. I happen to like Insight Timer as an app. They have some great sleep ones there. If you're on Fitbit has some. And they put you to sleep in about 30 minutes. And just as you're falling off to sleep, you can take your earbuds out. Make sure you turn off all the notifications on your phone before you start it. So when you're done with the recording, your phone's in the bed, you fall asleep, and you have a great night's sleep. But getting more sleep is absolutely essential. Avoid caffeine. Now, caffeine is the last thing you need if you're feeling frazzled, because caffeine stimulates your body and your mind. It can create more challenges than it solves. This would be an extent of caffeine, right? Extra. I understand, and I do myself. We get up in the morning, we have that cup of coffee just to give ourselves that jolt, because caffeine is also a nootropic. So we want to have that balance in there, the balance of what's enough just to kickstart us and then leave it alone. Because too much caffeine creates jitters, it creates nervousness, it can create a bunch of stuff, especially if you have a body type that doesn't metabolize caffeine correctly. There are some body types that can take a lot of caffeine, and there's some that can't. If you're one that you can't, then definitely stay away from it. Go for more of a green tea or mate or something like that, or just plain water with some lemon juice and apple cider vinegar. But you want to avoid the caffeine. If you have it in the morning. Once you get to work, stop it, because it's just going to put you on edge. Meditate. This is wonderful. Meditation, listening to relaxing music, praying, or anything else that relaxes your mind can be so beneficial. After ruminating over the challenges in your life, it's just great to release it. Your brain doesn't get a break unless you create one. And meditation is the best way. Now, I've said this before in other podcasts. I look at meditation as a generic term, just like exercise is a generic term. So meditate, there are many forms. If you've never meditated before, one of the best things, again, is get one of those apps, whether you have Insight Timer, I think Calm. I've never used it, but I've seen that. Also Fitbit. But find just some music. Now, I would recommend YouTube, but what happens is if you find a nice classical soft music and you get into it, an ad might pop up and take you out of it. So I prefer avoiding the YouTube channels for meditation itself, but you can just find quiet music. Just quiet music, put your earbuds in, sit in a place that is different for you. Because if you sit on the couch, your body knows you sit on the couch, you watch TV or you daydream. Find a chair that you don't sit in and sit in that chair, put your earbuds in, and then listen to the music. Focus on the music, focus on the notes, and that's where your attention is going to go. And your mind can only pay attention to one thing at a time. So as you're listening to the music, your mind will start to calm down and you'll go from this beta, which is awake, and maybe even a gamma if you're really stressed, to your alpha level. And that alpha level is that calm, relaxing one. So that would be the best way that I would suggest getting into meditation or using it. Give yourself a change of scenery. You know what? It's easy to get stuck in a rut when your scenery never changes. That's because it's a trigger. We see we're involved in the same environment. It triggers the same responses. Being in the same couple of places day after day can limit your perspective and close your mind to other possibilities that are open to you. That's why when I coach with my clients, if they're really in a stuck place, I ask them to call from outside, go someplace else, because when we're feeling stuck and we sit in our desk or sit in the same place all the time, that triggers that same stuckness. By going to a different scenery, even if you went outside and just walked around the parking lot, it's a different scenery. You're going to get a different perspective. Your brain, your body won't be triggered by the same environment. Changing your environment is so important if you are stressed or facing burnout, but do it regularly. These things are not one and done, right? These tips I'm going through. It's not you just do it once and everything's fine. Burnout accumulates over years. And to ignite your life and overcome burnout, it's not going to take years, but it's going to take repetition of one or more or all of these things that I'm going through. So if you're feeling stressed, feeling burned out, just keep walking outside. Nature, you'll be amazed at what nature can do for you as far as cleaning up your mind. Spend time with people you genuinely like. You know, this has been shown to be one of the best ways to recover from mental burnout. Spending time with someone that makes you smile and feel relaxed can be the best medicine. So when we are with people we really like, we can be ourselves. We can let our guard down. We can share our feelings. And then they can, either commiserate with us, which might be okay, or they can help us see a different perspective. But when we're with people we generally like even when we're with animals we like a dog, right? You go pet a dog, you play with the dog, all of a sudden your burnout's gone. But when we are with people, we hopefully will change the scenery. We'll go out for coffee. We'll go out for lunch. We'll go out for dinner. We will change the scenery. We'll be with people we like. We can share what's going on, and those people will be there to support us. What happens is when people face burnout and they get stressed and depressed and all these other ugly energies, they withdraw. And that's the worst thing to do. So reach out to people. If you don't have any people, that might be a question. Why not? Then reach out for your favorite four-legged pet. Evaluate your life. This can take a hard stance and probably not to be done during the weekday, but consider how you came to be in this situation. How is it? What were the steps? What happened to bring you here? Did you need to make some changes at work, a different job, or more satisfying relationships? Could it help to speak to a professional, whether it's a therapist, a counselor, or a coach? What needs to happen to prevent the same situation from occurring again? So when you sit down, we do want to find a problem. I'm not a big fan of asking why is this happening to me, because then we get answers, we don't get solutions. But if success, failure, stress, burnout all leave trails. They all leave clues. And if we start to look back on our life to what was we'll look back, okay, what happened last week? What happened the week before? Happened the week before? We start to see how our decision-making has contributed to the burnout. Because one, we have to own it. It's us. It's not the company. It's not our boss. It's not the environment. It's us. It's us on how we are handling the events in our life. And so at some point you are handling the events great, and then not so great, and then horribly. And when you can consider what has happened, then you can put a plan in to circumvent that. Maybe it is the job. Maybe it is. And I think I've shared this story a few times. I've had many, many clients come to me dissatisfied, burnt out, and say they're looking for a new job. And I said, we coached through this, that you never look for a new job when you're unhappy with the one you have, because whatever's making you unhappy here is going to follow you. Get happy with the job you have and then leave. And this is kind of what we want to do when you evaluate your life. What do you want out of life? Who do you want to be? What do you want to do? All these things pay close attention to the energy and the feelings that you have. But this evaluate your life is where I would strongly recommend hiring a coach. Me, somebody else, but help you walk through that. Avoid starting anything new. You know, one of the things when we're in stress, we want to burn our whole life down and start new. And you've already had enough on your plate, and avoid adding even more. So we want to have this balance of evaluating our life, but not starting anything new yet. So what you have to do is get a handle on your current situation, which is why you want to evaluate your life, and then take on more responsibility. Will be challenging during this time. So you want to, for lack of a better word, get all your ducks in a row, right? To stop the plates from spinning. If you feel like you're spinning plates, whatever analogy and metaphor we want to use, you want to get all of that under control through the help of probably a professional coach like me or someone else. Get all that situated, then you can think clearly, then you can see clearly. But do not start anything new when you're in this condition. Laugh. You know, laughing will always make you feel better. You know, who's your funniest friend? Go out there. What's a funny movie that you haven't seen for yourself? How can you make yourself laugh? You know, a night of laughter will give you a mental reset and put you in a better position to handle the challenges in life. There's a magazine or a booklet out there, Reader's Digest, and they had a section, Laughter is the Best Medicine. Laughing does so much for your body. It changes the chemical state of your brain. It changes the chemical state of your body. It doesn't matter what. You know, when I'm in that mood, I will look up any of the Tim Allen shows or movies, and just 5 minutes into it, and I'm laughing, and my whole mood changes. Who is that for you? Who's your favorite comedian? When was the last time you watched one of their stand-up shows or their TV shows or their movies? If you're feeling burned out and stressed, that's the best way. It may take a while to get into it because our mind is so, negative, stinking thinking. But when you find that person or that actor or whatever that is, a stand-up club, and you start laughing, oh my gosh, the whole thing changes. The whole mood changes. Find your passion. So there's nothing worse than having to wake up every morning during the week to mindlessly go to work you don't care about, or that you feel isn't adding anything to your world. However, if you choose to follow your passion, you can begin to truly enjoy what you do. Now, passion is not purpose, but passion. So for me, when I started really, really looking at my life events and started seeing how I pivoted through those, one of the things that my passion is a challenge. I love a challenge. I love not just the challenge, I love to come back from the challenge. And if you listen to this podcast for any length of time, you know that I've had some significant physical challenges with avalanche, with pneumonia, with emphysema, with other things, my knee surgery, but I've also had a lot of personal challenges as well, and I look at those and I thrive. So when I get bored with something, at least when I got bored at corporate, I would turn it into a challenge. I would turn whatever that was into a challenge. How many CEOs can I talk to this week? How much can I do here? And I would like that. So my passion was a challenge. Your passion may be something else, but when you start looking at what passion, so you review what you're passionate about in life in general, then you connect the dots between what you're passionate about and the work that you do. It may take a little bit of time, but I guarantee, working with a coach like myself or someone else, that there is a connection. You can find a connection between your passion and the work you do. The work you do is just not the work. whether you're a bookkeeper, whether you're operations, whether you're IT. It's just not that work. It reaches further than that. And when you can find your passion and connect it to your work you're doing, your energy and your view of what you do will completely shift. So taken way too far, burnout can become really a serious issue. It can polarize and debilitate you from doing things. There are many mental and physical health issues that are caused or made worse by stress and burnout. It will be beneficial to managing your physical and mental health, making it a priority. And this is, I'm big fan of the physical health and the mental health, as opposed, in addition to the emotional and spiritual. But we're talking about the burnout here. So when you're feeling burned out, take it seriously. Do what you need to do to feel like yourself again. Address your mind, body, and spirit. So if you'd like to find the show notes on this, or even request an introductory consultation or find out more information in general about me and my podcast, please go over to warriormindcoach.com for more information. And while you're on the internet, please follow me on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest under Warrior Mind Coach.